What's going on YouTube? Rice Crispy 94 here, bringing you another miniature painting video. And on this lovely December day, we have the community voted miniature. It was a close race between the Lion Drake and the Black Dragon Wyrmling, but the Black Dragon Wyrmling did pull it off between the two polls. So without further ado, here is the Black Dragon Wyrmling. Now this is just the WizKids model. It's a pretty solid model. Mine is coming off of the base right here, but that's whatever. I can deal with it. Should be a decently simple little tutorial here. Not a lot of color, but we're still going to add a decent amount of color to it. It's going to look more... It's not going to be, you know, just black like the print here. I'm going to do something similar with the skull, but my skull is not going to be as vibrant. Mine's going to look rotten. You know, the packaging. Here's the skull. So if you do have this set, I will be going over how to paint the skull. If not, you can apply this tutorial to any Black Dragon model, Wyrmling model. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up. I do want to say happy holidays to everybody and have a wonderful new year, because I don't think I'll have another video until after the new year. So yeah, happy holidays, have a wonderful new year. Let me shut up and let's get to painting. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to base coat the dragon in matte black. Now we're not going to touch the underbelly of it or the horns and the spikes, and luckily for us, if you're using the WizKids model, there's a nice line that kind of shows where the underbelly starts, so we can avoid that. Now we're going to finish our base coating with some skeleton bone. And this is going to be on the claws, the horns, and the underbelly. Pretty much everything we didn't paint black. This step's only for us using the WizKids model. If you're not using it, you can ignore this step. But there's a cool skull and bones that comes with it, and we're just going to cover that in the skeleton bone. This next step is going to require us to create a glaze. Mine unfortunately ended up a little bit washy, so just kind of watch what you're doing. But we're going to take Army Painter's onyx skin and a couple drops of the Army Painter's obsidian pigment toner, mix that in with some water and create a nice wash. And we're going to apply that wash to the wings, but not the full wing, just the inner webbing of the wings. And then the back scales, and then on the shoulders and hips of the dragon. And you're going to want to do 3 to 4 layers. You just want to kind of make that black a little more gray. Now we're going to grab some Vallejo Goblin Green, and I can't stress this enough, make sure the glaze is 100% dry before you do this, because we are going to be doing some dry brushing. We're going to be dry brushing the Goblin Green onto the webbing of the wings. Now, do top and bottom, but this is really going to make those wings pop, especially coming in the next few steps. Now, some more dry brushing. If you do have the WizKids model, we're going to dry brush the acid areas of the skull. And what I mean by the acid areas, the areas that look like they've been melted away with acid. And we're just going to use the same Goblin Green. Now, going back to the dragon, we're going to grab our matte black and we're just going to trace the wing fingers. Now, the fingers are, I call them fingers. I'm not 100% sure what they are actually called, but the fingers of the wing, so that spine that kind of runs down and holds the webbing together. That is what we are painting, and on both sides of the wing. Now we're going to grab Army Painter's Troll Skin from the D&D line, also known as Angel Green from the regular War Paints line. And we're going to make some highlights. Now these are going to be very dark highlights, but they're still going to act as highlights. And we're just going to hit the shoulders and hips of the dragon with this, as well as the tips of the spine. You can almost dry brush with this model. Just kind of take your brush and go right down the spine, and that's going to hit just the edges of those scales and give that little hint of green that we want. Super quick step here, we're just going to grab some white and paint the eyes of our dragon. Once that white is dry, we're going to add some green flame to the eyes, and this is going to give it that nice glowing eye look. Now the actual dragon itself is pretty much done besides a few finishing touches, so we're going to move down to the base for this step. And we're going to make a nice dark, almost brown green using Goblin Green and the Onyx skin. I did about a 3:4 ratio, and it worked out pretty well. While the base is drying, we're going to grab some Army Painter's Strong Tone, and we're going to apply that to all the horns and spikes. So the spikes on the wings, the horns coming off of its head, and the claws on the model. Now we're going to grab some Army Painter's Soft Tone and do the entire belly of the dragon. And this is going to just kind of separate that skeleton bone. We'll have a darker skeleton bone color for our spikes and horns, and then a lighter one for the softer underbelly of the dragon. While we wet those washes dry, we can jump back over to the skull to add the finishing touches to that. And we're just going to grab some Army Painter's Military Shader and shade the entire skull. So this is going to darken that green and that skull, give it a dirty, gross, destroyed look. This is the second to last step, and we're going to finish off the base. We're just going to grab some Army Painter's Dark Tone and slap that all over the base to give it a grimy, swampy look. And finally, we're going to add some more edge highlights using the Troll Skin or Angel Green. We're going to add some highlights to the eyebrows, to the top of the wing, that kind of little knuckle up there, the tail, and then just that back spine. We're going to hit that a little more to get that green to really just pop and act as a true highlight. And we are back, but before I show off the finished miniature, if you guys are not already, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment to let me know how I'm doing, and subscribe if you're not already. Now, without further ado, here is the Skull and Bones. Now, I just wanted to show this off real quick. I got some green on my hands still. But yeah, it's not bad. I kind of like the acidy look. I don't have it anymore. It's kind of how it looked on the packaging, but I thought that was kind of cool. Like the dragon's acid had kind of melted this down, even though it's huge. So it's probably like a troll or maybe a hill giant skull rather than an actual human skull, but still pretty cool. So yeah, that was just a little thing that came with this. Now on to the actual dragon, and I really enjoy how this figure came out. Mostly those wings, that's what really does it for me. I'm glad I went back over. Originally I was not going to go back over, but the wing fingers, that's what I call them, wing fingers, because I don't actually know what they're called. And then I know bats can use them like fingers, and I've seen other, shows where the dragons also kind of use them like fingers, so I'm just going to call them wing fingers. But going over that in the black, really, especially after we added that gray washish, not really a wash that we made with the obsidian, or sorry, the onyx skin. It was more of a glaze, but it was a little bit liquidy, but it worked out. And I think it really kind of highlighted the grayness. And then once I dry brushed on that Goblin Green, you could tell that they are definitely lighter than the actual black. Same with all the scales, which leaves to the underneath and the head of the dragon to be much darker. And that's what I was going for. And then that troll skin highlight, even though it was very dark, it still gave kind of a nice greenish highlight. Did go a little too heavy back there, but that's okay. It's whatever. It'll be hard to see on the tabletop. And then the glowing green eyes. Green flame is a great paint for that. However, it is not a great paint. It's very thick. And it takes a lot of coats to cover, which is why we did the white on the ice first. One thing I did do off camera, I've noticed that this dark tone leaves a very glossy look. So that's why I've been using the Nuln Oil more so than this lately. But this one does do darker than what the Nuln Oil does, so I did go ahead and grab it because I did want more of the black in that base, and then I just hit it with some brush on anti-matte varnish, because I don't normally do the spray varnish on my miniatures until I'm done completely, and I have a bunch of them that I need to do. Plus it's cold out right now, so this works perfectly when I need to make something not shiny, or something shiny not shiny before a video. But yeah, all in all, I really enjoy how it turned out. You can see some more of that kind of troll green highlight in the scales. I think that was a pretty good step. Originally I just did the original step of the back scales, and then those I was like, you know what, I need it in some more places. So I did the wing fingers, did a little bit on the eyebrows, just in some places that you see when the light catches, and I think it made it look a little bit better. But yeah, that is going to wrap up 2023 for Rice Krispie. So thank you everyone who joined the community this year, and everybody who's commented and liked and subscribed and just supported me in this year. We've changed a little bit since we started out, starting with Pokemon content, moving into Icons of the Realms opening, moving into the world of miniature painting, and now I'm kind of really focusing more on these how-to paint videos, just to kind of show off some simple tips and tricks for beginners, as well as kind of show off how to paint some of your favorite D&D monsters. And again, I'm not painting for Golden Brush or anything like that. We are painting for tabletop gaming, just to slap a pretty cool little monster on the table so that your players will love it. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Happy New Year's, everyone. Hope it is perfect, and I will see you at the first of the year with a special video that is not painting related, but it is pretty cool. So check that out if you want. Until next time, peace.